Hello Stampers, this is Kelly Acheson at astampabove.com. Today I have a really fun folding technique for you called a basket weave, and that's what we have going down the side of this card. It looks really complicated, but it's not, I promise. Join me in my tutorial and I'll show you just how easy it is. Here are the consumables for this card. You're going to need a card base. Mine is 8.5 by 5.5. I'm using Night of Navy cardstock. So I've folded this in half. I've got a piece of designer series paper that's 3.25 by 5.5. A Whisper white layer that's 3 by 5.25. A layer for our banner that's 1 by 3.25. And then some scraps, Night of Navy, Peekaboo Peach, Mint Macaron, Watermelon Wonder. A piece of thick baker's twine. This happens to be Calypso Coral, and it is about 22 inches long. And then I've got the template that you can download, and you're going to need this to make your basket weave card. I'm going to take this template and cut it out right along this straight line edge. And you can use any one of these. I'm going to grab my card base and I'm going to burnish that edge good so I have a good crisp fold. Using some paper clips, we're going to paper clip the template onto our card base. I'm doing that on the folded edge with that solid line at the folded edge. Also make sure that your hash lines are pointing down when your card is facing you. We're going to center this. And when I'm centering it, what I'm looking at is where this top line meets the fold. I want this to be the same distance as where this bottom line ends down here. So I've got about 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch at the top and the bottom on both of those. I'm just going to hold this in place with some paper clips. You want to make sure those paper clips are out of the way of your scissors. The last thing we want to do is cut through or cut into a paper clip with your scissors because that'll ruin them. So using a nice sharp pair of scissors, we are going to cut on each one of these lines. And you want to make sure that you get all the way to the end of each line. These hash marks are very uniform, and that's going to give you a good result in the end with your basket weave fold. Be careful so you don't cut this end off. It's easy to do. You need to keep control of your scissors. We're going to pull our template off and our paper clips, and then you'll see that we have this feathered edge down the side of our card. This very last piece that you cut here, you're going to need to cut that off, and we need it to be straight across just like the bottom of our card. So I'm going to bring my scissors in here and cut this straight across, and you may need to snip this very end a little bit to get that to come out. This just makes a V. Just like that. We're going to keep this for later, so don't discard that. Now you're going to open your card up, and this has the feathering here where we cut all the slits in it. We're going to leave this first one alone, but we're going to grab that second one. So skip this one, grab this second one, and you're going to just fold it down, press on the fold lines there, and then tuck it under the triangle that's here. We're going to do the same thing again. We're going to skip the next one and pull this down and tuck it under the previous one. Again, repeat, skip one, fold that down, tuck it under, skip one, fold that down, tuck it under. I told you this was easy, right? Skip, fold, and tuck. And that's all there really is to this technique. Isn't that cool? Kind of gives you that herringbone effect. Now with this one that we cut off, we're going to put some glue on the very ends of it. Ooh, that's a little bit too much glue. Hang on. I don't want to make a big mess with that. A little bit of glue. Kind of came out a little too fast. And we're going to tuck that and then glue this right at the top to continue that pattern. There we go. There is your basket weave fold. Isn't that fun and very elegant? Okay, let's finish up this card. I've got some other great tips to share with you. We're going to do a little bit of stamping right now. And I'm just going to bring in a scrap of paper to protect my desktop. I'm using Soft Sky ink and Night of Navy ink for this particular card. And I'm going to ink up my greeting and Night of Navy. And I'm going to use the Soft Sky for my clouds. And I've got this cute little hot air balloon that I'll put right down here in the corner. And sending smiles across the miles for my front banner. I'm using the Banner Triple Punch. Perfect every time. And then we're going to start putting our card together. This piece goes right to the outside edge. And I like to kind of stack it like this because then I know I'm getting it all the way out to that edge. Here comes that baker's twine. I thought this was a great embellishment for the edge of my card. Adds that little element that I felt it was missing. We're just going to tie this in a bow. I've got some dimensionals for the back of my banner. Don't forget that tried and true little tip of sticking your fingernail in the middle of these so the edges pull up a little bit. It's easier to remove the backing. That's a great tip. That came to us many years ago by somebody. And inside, got an 1/8 inch border around the outside edge of this piece. Isn't that cute? Okay, now I want to show you some really good tips on the hot air balloon. I'm going to bring in all of these pieces. And I'll show you in just a minute how these all stack together. But these are all the pieces behind the hot air balloon. If you look on here, it's all different colors behind there, and these cut out all those colors. So I'm going to run everything through my Big Shot, and I'll be right back. The easiest way to work with all of these is to put them in order before you start working with your glue. Just like that. That's how our hot air balloon is going to go together. I'm just going to bring in a scrap here. This could possibly change your gluing life. I like saying that because this was an aha moment when I saw somebody do this. I just put some liquid glue out here and I'm going to turn my balloon over so I'm at the back of it and use a sponge to soak up some of this glue, and I'm going to dab it onto my hot air balloon. because it's really kind of tricky to get that glue on the back, right? And you're just going to add all these little pieces so you have a nice rainbow by putting pretty much the puzzle together. And you don't have glue squishing out on the other side of your hot air balloon. So this is a pretty cool idea. Oops. Get a little bit more glue on my basket. And here comes our hot air balloon. Isn't that neat? Very simple and quick. And again, I chose to use dimensionals to lift my balloon up. And here comes our card. I hope you enjoyed the basket weave tutorial. You can use this on a variety of card themes. If you make one, be sure and post it on the Split Coast Gallery so we can all see it and cheer you on. For more information and more creative ideas, you can visit me at www.astampabove.com. Thanks so much. Have a wonderful day.